Hi, it's Martin here from the Zahara team. I'm going to give you this video overview and give you an idea of what Zahara is all about. So the first thing I'm going to show you is that you can have as many different business units in Zahara as you like. So up here it says click to scan, which is my genuine company. If I click down here, I've got Edge Technologies, which I've switched into, and I've got click to scan demo environment, which I'm just going into. And when I change those business units, everything changes. All of my suppliers or vendors change, my tax codes, nominal codes, cost codes, they all change as well. So it's quite important to understand that you can really set up Zahara for a multi-business environment and create it exactly the way you want it. So if your organization has got clearly defined business units that are kind of quite separate from one another, that's the first thing you can do. In the admin and settings, you can create the business units, and down here you can assign users to them. The next kind of form of demarcation we have in Zahara are departments or divisions. So these divisions here are kind of typical business, where you've got a finance team, perhaps a head office team, HR, marketing, IT. And if we were to go into, say, the sales department, we've got an address for the sales department, we've got an icon to represent them, we've perhaps got a budget in place for the sales department, and down here the most important thing, and perhaps the thing that a lot of people buy Zahara for, is the kind of workflows that you can have, the approval processes. So for example, there's an approval process here for less than 25,000 Martin it's called, and it's a kind of two-tier approval process with the final step of send to supplier. So I'll come back onto workflows shortly, but it's important to show you that the demarcations are really important, because you need to understand how you're going to set up your Zahara environment. The other things, of course, we've got are the ability to have all of your suppliers in here and perhaps have them in sync with your account system. So we support Xero and QuickBooks Online as kind of cloud to cloud syncing. But you can also stage and import all your vendors through CSV. It's very straightforward. We also have projects, which are really important. So there could be some ring fencing of spend you need to do. So if I go into a project called Water Babies, and if I look at that, then I've got some big numbers down here. I can see what we set ourselves as a figure to spend for this project, 140,000, and then if I go down, I've got all of the orders and all of the invoices relating to that. You can also have a project budget. So if I go back to projects and perhaps click into the one called the Foo Fighters, don't ask why, there's actually a proper budget down here saying 5,003 packaging. You've got a budget of $1 million and you've spent 60,000 so far. So again, I'll come on to budgets in a second. We've also, of course, got tax codes. So no matter where you are in the world, you're going to be charged tax. We have VAT here in the UK, so I've got a code called T1 for 20% VAT, but you'll have GST on Australia, or state and federal taxes in the US. You should be able to create whatever tax you need to in this kind of facility here. We've also got nominal codes or ledger codes, and on that point, actually, I'm set as a UK company, and if you change the business unit address to US, then some of the words change, like supplier to vendor. The date format can change, and so we try and localize it as best we can. But typically for a chart of accounts, you've got a code and you've got a description, and you can have cost codes. So whereas ledger code 5000 could be materials, you could have a cost code of CON for concrete and BR for bricks, or in my case, CON for consultancy. So you can call them what you like and have whatever you like. We've also got budgets. So budgets is quite an important feature for some of our customers. So the important thing with budgets, if I go into, say, my monthly sales budget, it's quite kind of detailed now, in the sense that you can call your budget what you like. You can decide whether your period is monthly, quarterly, yearly. You can have a date that the budget resets on, so like the 5th of the month we reset the budget at end of the financial year, and then you can control how you're actually doing your budget. Is it on ledger codes, what we call nominal codes, or cost codes? So in this particular budget, it's on nominal codes, and if I go into the details, I've got 3 line items here, and if I show all periods, then I can have a range of spends across those periods. So what this all distills down to is a list of purchases. This is what the system is all about. It's about having a kind of history of everything you're buying in your business. So if we look at this list of purchases, we've got some various different icons going on here. So if we look at the most recent one, order 347, it's got a red dot with it. Well, that means it was rejected. It was sent out for approval and it was rejected. Bearing in mind this is demo data, don't get too hung up about the specifics of the things, but this one here, for example, is orange and it says it's waiting for Martin to approve it. I've been waiting 1 day and 22 hours. Bearing in mind that's me, I need to get on and do it. If we look at one of the green ones, then we can see a successful purchase where we went from a request into an approval into a purchase order because it was sent to the supplier. If we look in a little bit more detail on one of these, if we go into 345, we can see that we ordered 30 vodka shot glasses, put it against nominal code 5,000, so we got a summary of the purchase there, and we've got the history down here. That's the most important thing, from when it was created, if it was approved, if it was sent to the supplier, if somebody GRN'd it, what we call checking the goods in, goods receipted it, if an invoice was recorded against it. So we've got the full history of this purchase going all the way through. I can also see that an invoice has been recorded against it, etc., etc. Because it's approved, if I wanted to, I could email it onto the supplier again, and the fact that I've clicked the email and it knows it's been emailed already, it says revised. I could download a PDF of the purchase and see what it looks like. So if I drag that over from my other screen, there's a copy of our purchase order template, and it goes without saying that this is totally customizable and you can have whatever you want on your PO template and have it in whatever style you want. You could clone it. It could be that you order vodka shot glasses on a regular basis, so you can go into one of your kind of most recent orders and just clone it, and of course you can edit it as well. And one of the settings behind the scenes says, if you're going to update this document, we're going to send it out back into an approval process again. So there's lots and lots of settings in here which kind of control what your users have to do and different kind of outcomes based on things. So for example, that setting there was rerun the document on a workflow update. So going back to the list of purchases, your whole kind of purpose of using Zahara is to try and streamline and control the spend in your business. So this is what it's all about. We've got some other icons here which are worth mentioning. A red lorry here, or red truck, says that it's received in excess, and an orange truck says that it's not fully received yet. And the icon here says that the email has been sent to the vendor. We haven't got a green email to say that they've confirmed or accepted the order, but that's kind of gives us an idea that everything's in order. Raising a purchase couldn't be easier. You just click on New Purchase. Now, based on who you are and what your settings are, you will perhaps have some of these things grayed out. So, for example, I'm a member of multiple divisions, so on this occasion I'm going to buy on behalf of the sales department. I'm going to change the currency back to pound sterling. The currency is set on a business unit basis or can be overridden on a vendor basis or supplier basis. If I want to choose a supplier, I can just type and choose one from the list. So if I go Spielberg Solutions Limited, if that supplier has any products saved against them, it's very easy just to choose the product from a drop down list, click Add Product to Line, and there it is. So container storage is actually a thing in document management, and I've got a preset price there, and I just need to put in a nominal code. So I'm going to put 5,000 materials purchased. I've still got a blank line item up here, so I could say that's carriage actually at £25 nominal code. I'm going to put that down as advertising just for a bit of fun. The green dots here signify whether or not this purchase is going to be within the budget. So if I go on to the next screen, I'm going to get a little bit more narrative on that budget. So I can see my first line item was against ledger code 5,000 materials purchased. I've got a budget of 5,000. As it stands at the moment, I've got spend of 5,000 available. So I'm well within my budget. And this one here, £25 on 8,000, loads of headroom. Obviously these bars change colour as we go kind of higher up and get closer to running out of budget. The next thing I've got is the kind of delivery address. we have defaults. It can be the business unit, it can be the division, it could even be the project address if you're in construction, for example, and you want to default that every purchase goes to whichever project you've set. And of course, we've got previous addresses. So if wherever you've sent stuff in the past, they will be available in a drop-down list here. The other most significant thing up here is the workflow, the approval process. For most people, that will be automatic and it will be grayed out. We won't give them a choice because I'm the higher kind of tenancy admin and I got full permission. I can choose the approval process, and I know for the benefit of this video, I need to set it to this one here. I click next. One other thing we've got actually, apart from internal comments and typing things like test for new video, is the ability to upload a document. So there could be something that you need to put in, like a supporting proposal or a supporting quote or something like that. So I'm just going to grab any old PDF. There we are. I've added in what I've called a quote, and I'm going to click submit. That's uploaded and finished. I cross that, and now I click next. Now I get a summary review of what I'm buying. And you may have noticed actually down here there's a save as draft. That's quite a nice feature. If you're not quite ready to release this purchase into the wild out for approval, then you could park it. You can save it as a draft and come back to it. I'm going to click raise purchase. Now there it is, 348 for Spielberg Solutions, and the status is grey. If I was to refresh that, this status is now orange. And there it is. It says email approver Martin Pierce at 15:43. It just so happens, if I refresh my email and bring that over, I've got a brand new email here. So I go into it. Now this email is completely customizable. You can have whatever you want inside the email, the body. It's totally editable in the business settings. You can see, look, test for new video demo. And I've got three choices. The first two choices are what I call binary outcomes. I can approve it, job done. I can reject it, job done. So I could be sat on a train, sat in a traffic jam with my cell, and I pick up my phone, my iPhone, and I go, right, that's fine. I'm happy with that. I can see that you're buying container storage. Yeah, I'm happy with your comments. So I could approve or reject it. Actually, I'm going to review with detail. This then takes me into Zahara, and then I've got the full kind of snapshot of what this person wants to buy. I've got the history down here. Oh, this person added a document. Okay, I wonder what that is. Oh, it's an agreement. That's fine. So, yep, I'm happy with that. I'm going to approve it. Thank you, it's been approved. So if we now refresh, and we refresh again and go back into it, it's been approved, and the next step is to send the purchase order to the supplier. And once it's got the signaling back from our mail sending that that's happened, we now know that it's been sent on to the supplier. So I should be seeing an icon up here to signify that it's been sent. Great. So that is the first start of the process. So the purchase went from purchase requisition, I approved it, it then became a purchase order. When it's still at the requisition stage, you can't do much with it. You can't email it, you can't download it. All you can do is edit it or clone it or recycle it or reprocess it. But we're going to kind of take you on the journey of what I call the document lifecycle. What typically happens next is the goods are delivered. So you don't have to receipt goods in Zahara. A lot of our customers do, some don't. But let's just say that you do. You tick it, you go GRN. Have you received this order in full? Well, the easiest thing to do is say, yes, I have, but I'm going to say no. So I've received the carriage, but I haven't received the container storage. Highly unusual. Let's put a GRN number in here. We'll make it up, and we'll upload a GRN, a copy of the delivery note. So again, I'm going to grab any old document at source and put it in there. Obviously, the fact that we allow you to upload a JPEG of a image means that the GRNing can be done on an iPhone as well, or an iPad, or any tablet, anything you like, where you can take a photograph and then kind of use the web browser to upload it. So if I save that now, and we go into back to purchases, we have got an orange truck. It says it's not fully received. If we go into the order, we can see that It was GRN by Martin, received 1 carriage, nothing left, received no container storage, 1 left. Click here to view the file. So if I wanted to see a copy of the delivery note, I could do. You can see now how we're building up our audit trail. We're building up the history of the document. Let's GRN it again. It knows that you've already received 1 of these, so in fact the only thing you could possibly receive will be the containers. So I'm going to click Save to that. Now if we go back to purchases, good, we've got a grey truck. We've got an approved purchase, we've got a grey truck, and if we go into audit trail, we've got a second GRN telling us we have nothing left. So that's what I call stage 2 of the purchase. Stage 3 of the purchase is the supplier's going to send you his bill. So what happens there normally is that you've got 2 choices. You can record the invoice in Zahara, and you can do it manually, or you can use our OCR software, which I'm going to do a separate video on that one. But the OCR software, OCR is optical character recognition, the ability to use desktop software to intelligently recognize the invoice and make sense of it. At this stage, before I record an invoice, I'm just going to show you something. Business settings, integrations. Now it's really important that you kind of have this set the way that you want it. So if you're a QuickBooks desktop user, you just set your export type to QuickBooks and we will fire out an IIF file which QuickBooks likes. If you are a Xero user, then you should be connected up already and you will just be pushing your bills directly into Xero. So I'm going to leave it at QuickBooks and save that. And now if I go into documents and invoices, we're going to record a new invoice. So we go new invoice. Is this invoice for 1 or more orders in Zahara? Yes, it is. Which one is it? It'll be the one that I've just done, which is 348. Does this order fully match the invoice? I do agree that it kind of assumes that you've got a copy of the invoice up on another screen or on a piece of paper in front of you. And I'm going to say, no, it doesn't. Because if I say, yes, it does, it's really simple. And it won't be a very good demonstration. So I'm going to say, no, it doesn't. So what happens now is that we can drag over or browse and grab a copy of the PDF of the invoice. So let's take this one here. There we are. We've got our invoice here. And next thing I need is the invoice number. I can see from there it's 11590. The invoice date, it's going to be yesterday's date. So I've got from Spielberg. There's the invoice number. If I go down the currency, and what the line items are telling me is that you've received 1, and obviously we're expecting a quantity of 1. So the GRN information is coming up in this invoice. So this is where Zahara becomes useful for the finance team, because we're giving you information at the point of source when you need it. So what could be different then? Well, let's just say that the price is slightly different. They've charged me $12.70 instead of $12.60. If I click next, comments, price is higher than the order. And you can see down here under invoice approval, as a finance person, you could have a big list of invoice approval processes. We can even force someone to code the invoice as well. So for example, you receive an invoice, you've no idea which project or which job it belongs to, you can force them to code it. We're just going to go invoice approval. Next. We get a summary view again, price is higher than the order, create invoice. Okay, so if we now refresh those invoices, this invoice has now gone out for approval as well. If we go into that invoice, we'll see we've got the document history, invoices created by Martin, sent for approval to Martin, and if I want to get back to the order, I can just hyperlink into it, and I've obviously got my full audit trail from the order there. Let's go back to the invoice. Okay, so if we bring up my emails again and refresh, new invoice for approval. We need you to approve an invoice. Supplier is Spielberg, price is higher than the order. Well, at this point I could go in and have a look at it, but in fact for the benefits of the video I'm just going to click approve. If we go back to invoices, it's green now, it's approved. So the next step of the process is that once you've got a list of all kind of approved invoices, and in fact you can filter on that and say show me all approved or show me all pending export, we can tick this, or multiple tick them, click the export button, and then based on the settings, that purchase will export into your account system in the format that we support, which is best for you. So if you're a QuickBooks user, for example, then we've got the IIF file. If I drag this over, and if we look at an IIF file, it's basically a load of text that QuickBooks likes. So if I want to prove that that works, I'll bring up my QuickBooks, just drag that over here. If I go File, Utilities, Import, IIF Files, browse to the one that we've just seen. So if I go to, I think it's in Downloads, and we take that one there, 2nd of June, and I click Open, your data has been imported. If I go to my suppliers, we go into Spielberg Solutions Limited, there we have our 11590, so imported there. So if I drag that down, 11590, all recorded correctly, with the date of the 6th of the 1st of June 2017. So that gives you an example of how it works with QuickBooks. So you've got all this great information in Zahara. You've got your invoices, you've got your purchases. A user can log on a daily basis, go to his approver tab and work through all of his different approvals that he needs to do. With this being a demo environment, I haven't got really bad employees here who aren't actually approving their stuff. This is for demo purposes. A buyer can kind of see how many orders that they're raising each day as well. You're going to need some reporting and you're going to need some analysis. So on the reporting tab, this is where you can prepare yourself an Excel spreadsheet. You can choose your business unit, you can choose your sort of divisions or departments you want to report against, any projects, and if you click filter, you can get a list of all your transactions, outstanding orders, order invoice differences, find out what the difference in the amounts are, and once you've got your kind of some information you want, you can hit the export button. It will now email you a spreadsheet, and if we look for our trusty old email again, we've got an email from the mailbot and we can download it, and here we've got a spreadsheet with lots and lots of tabs that you can then analyze. So outstanding orders, order invoice differences, etc., etc. So all the time we're adding to our reporting and adding to the analysis that we have as well. So our spend analytics is quite interesting. We can see who's spending, or the average spend per user, sorry. We can see which users are spending the most. We can see where we're spending the most money, and we've got a little graph here that if you mouse over on your suppliers, we'll tell you what a 10% to 2% saving looks like over a period of time that you specify. We've got our top divisions who are spending the most money, top products, spend analysis, and we've got a little gap here which we're about to fill with a graph showing you the top worst performing budgets across your divisions. So that's pretty much the overview of Zahara, from the document lifecycle of creating a purchase, recording it, or getting it approved, recording a GRN or receipting it, recording an invoice against it, getting the invoice approved, and then finally exporting the invoice off into a format that is valid for your account system. Administering the system is dead simple. Most of it's done under business and settings. Under the templates here, you can control what your purchase order looks like. You can even kind of choose from a range of templates that we produce on a country by country basis. You can kind of choose the wording of the emails that you sent out. You can drop different fields in and put them in different places. And you can sort of have various different validations. You can force your users to, they have to key a nominal code or they have to key a cost code, etc., etc. You can also send all the emails through your own SMTP server if you want to, or you can just use ours. And what else have we got? And you can just change the way that all the drop-down lists are displayed. So for example, what we call nominal codes, you could have code hyphen description, or you could have description hyphen code, or just description. You could have whatever you want. Administering the system on a kind of users and permissions basis, you have a user manager down here. So creating a new user is really simple. You just use the wizard and work your way through it. And then for every user, if you go into a user, you can control exactly what they can and can't do. So if you want to really lock down your users and make sure they're only seeing certain things, then you can do that. You can even make a user what we call a restricted viewing, so they can only see their stuff. So although somebody could be a member of the IT department, you don't necessarily want them to see what other people are spending in the IT department. So we've kind of thought of quite a lot. We get a lot of feedback from our customers on a daily, weekly basis that are in our kind of roadmap, and the system is improved every 3 weeks. New features are released, new refinements, new integrations are coming. So that to me is a typical demonstration that we do with our customers. I hope that you've found it useful and informative, and we will be delighted to then take this further. If you wanted a tailored demonstration, or if you want to drill down and schedule a call with us to look at Zahara in more detail, then you'd be more than welcome just to book in for that and choose one of our slots. So thank you for watching, and look forward to seeing you on board as a customer perhaps. Cheers.